I think it's quite ironic that, okay, you know, when you hear some immigrants in this country, regardless of color and background, how they accuse us of begging, right? We're demanding that a debt is owed. Like if you went to work for 6 months and your employer has not paid you, what you gonna do? Sit on the corner and cry, or are you gonna go to that office and demand that they cut your check, right? Or if they don't do it, you gonna sue them. Take whatever you have to do, whatever protocols you have to follow, you gonna get your money. So it only makes sense that we would stand up where our ancestors left off and demand that a debt is paid. I don't care how you see it. Isn't it rather funny that these same people who accuse us of begging, telling us to get off the white man's jock, they're doing the same thing in their country? It's just not talked about like ours. I'll be back. Hey folks, welcome back. Those who have returned, newcomers, thank you for showing up. Why don't you guys check out the entire video? Let's jump into this. So, what had happened, what caused me to do this video and have this discussion about melanated immigrants demanding reparations as well, is because, what was it? This man on Fishback, I believe, called Donald's slave, and some folks got upset about that, feeling, I guess, that we should have came out and rebuked him or something. And we were like, well, hey, you guys, immigrants, you guys called us worse things than that.
I was never a slave. I don't know about slaves because I was never a slave. I know where my grandfather came from, my great-grandfather, and where all their ass came from. Your ass don't know.
You guys call us slaves, you know, kata and all that. So, you know, don't you think it's kind of hypocritical that you would get upset with this white man calling Donald's a slave, which he was basically saying you're a slave to corporate America. They paid you, they're prostituting you. But I understand the word, you know, it was like, yeah. So I said, well, let me go find some clips of immigrants calling us slaves, calling us worse things than that. And let's test the hypocrisy, right? So as I'm looking, I also discovered videos of immigrants in other countries demanding that Britain pay them reparations. And I was like, wow. So I'm like, is that where the jealousy comes from? Is that why you accuse us of begging and you're doing the same thing? And you're upset that you don't have the momentum that we have when it comes to reparations? Demanding reparations from this country and not reparations from your country, or not reparations. Well, we're going to have to soon start demanding reparations from UK, because it was the Britons who came to, or the British who came to our country and put our folks in chains. And they were actually British citizens. So yeah, they started slavery hundreds of years prior to their ancestors, their seed, continuing it on, who were actually born in this country. But back to the immigrants, yeah, they're in the background demanding the same thing, but then they come in and they ridicule us. Now that's something that needs to be examined and studied. That kind of mentality needs to be studied. Okay, I want to show you some clips right quick. Okay, I'm going to play clips from individuals who are talking about reparations, like Jamaicans and people from UK, Barbados, talking about the reparations owed to them for repairs. Like the same thing we say, right? I'm also going to play a clip of this white British woman telling Britons who are demanding reparations from Britain, they can jump in a lake. That's basically what she's saying. So check this out real quick.
You've already taken so much more than we were ever willing to give. If you're unhappy here in Britain, truly unhappy, then please leave. And if you want to start looking at the past, then please look at the whole picture and not just cherry picking things that match your narrative. Maybe you should start by demanding reparations from other black people, because black people for over 200 years sold other black people to Portuguese, French and British merchants, but other black people from other tribes, but they were of the same race. So maybe you should start demanding reparations.
The lack of accountability is so brazen, they don't even see it when it's applying to them. It's like, if you bought a truck for me for $2,000 and you used that truck for several years and you amassed millions of dollars from that one truck you bought for me, who are you going to ask for compensation from? Me, that only made $2,000, or this person who made $200 million? It's like, whoever sold who? You are the one who benefited the most, and you still have wealth circulating through this entire globe, or around this globe, from slavery. So check out these other clips.
Now, as the world's newest republic, it's demanding old colonial masters right the wrongs of the past.
Britain, you're listening? Pay. You owe us, and big time. Apology and reparations.
This small Caribbean island has started a global fight. It's prepared to take on the powerful institutions and individuals who made a fortune here for reparations. But generations after slavery was abolished, can it convince them that it's owed a reckoning and repayment?
We don't have hatred. We just want wrong things to be righted. But at the same time, we are very welcoming.
And how do you feel about the British royal family now?
I'll tell you something. I've been one of the fortunate or unfortunate people to have actually met them personally, how you and I are talking. Met Elizabeth, her husband. I always felt that Elizabeth had quite a long time to apologize to us for slavery and to pay reparations, and she didn't.
Last year and the days after the Queen died, Gabby sparked international uproar.
I wrote a poem called Goodbye to Rubbish. Is anything wrong with speaking the truth? It's the truth. Elizabeth was not a great leader. Charles is behaving differently. It seems, because the first thing he did, he said that slavery was a terrible thing. He admitted that. But he didn't say, we are going to pay reparations. So I'm looking forward to the day when that occurs.
Do you see the sheer sabotage? Do you see how they are free to go to whatever country they believe are no owes them reparation, and we don't interfere? We're not going behind these melanated immigrants, interfering in their business, going to their governments or whoever they approach, saying, nah, they don't deserve, these Barbados, these Jamaicans, these Caribbeans don't deserve a dime. But here, you can help FBAs. We are not doing that. I'm actually happy that they are demanding, because, you know, before I started doing research, I mean, I know I heard in the past that they, you know, were talking about reparations, but I'm American, so I'm focusing on what was done to my people in this country. But like I said, I don't even have a heart to go behind these people and try to sabotage them. So what I want to say to you immigrants who are melanated immigrants, who are first gen Americans who are looking at this video, we need to discuss the betrayal and why it is we have gotten to the point where we feel this way about you, because you guys have betrayed us in a way where I don't even think we could ever trust you again in life. We've never went behind your back and tried to sabotage you, but you guys have done it to us consistently, taking no breaks, trying to work against us like racists have. Now check out a couple of more clips.
I'm talking about the slave trade has benefited us in some ways because of the interaction of culture. The culture exchange and all of that with the Europeans coming over, mixed with the African culture and all of that. However, I do not think we have sufficiently gotten any strong benefits from that era. As a matter of fact, I know for sure that there are people who lived and worked during that time, descendants of them who hardly managed to really do anything. They haven't gotten anything substantial out of that. Do not have sufficient social services. We do not have sufficient, I would say, sporting activities for the youths. We need a community center. And people have talked about getting back money from the slave era. I'm in agreement with that, total agreement, because I'm sure you can remember, the slave masters, the owners of plantations, they got paid. But the people who actually were here working, there was nothing for them.
I am an African descendant, and my great-great-grandmother is from Africa, from Nairobi. And she came here, this is what I was told by my aunt, that she came here with a chain on her feet on a slave trade ship to Jamaica here. I think it is fair for we to get up with a compensation, for what our old people been through.
Logical game is played. They knew. I can understand. Looking at these clips of melanated people around the world who were enslaved demanding reparations, I could see the impact. Can you imagine what this world owes us in this country, and owes Caribbeans and Haitians and Jamaicans and everyone who is melanated that were enslaved? Now you understand why they set it up where they allowed, I'm speaking particularly about American, why they allowed, even scouted out immigrants to come here, get involved in our politics and work against us, because they knew that once we found out that they weren't trying to be our friends, that they weren't trying to be distant family, and they were sabotaging us, betraying us, they knew we would be done. We wouldn't trust them because we're big on loyalty. Because I'll say my people are loyal to a fault, to the point where we have to grab you by your collar and drag your ass out and demand that you stop supporting people who are stabbing you in your back. But anywho, they knew that once we found out these people who look like us are actually working against us, they knew we wouldn't trust them. It would take an act from God for me to trust you. But imagine, just briefly imagine, I'm still for my folks, but imagine what kind of impact we would have if us in America, FBAs, Indigenous, ADOS, linked up with every other melanated person who is willing to fight and pull their own weight and ferociously demand repairs for what was done to us globally. Could you imagine the impact? But I'm not interested in linking up with anyone who is not ready to admit their fault, their betrayal, sabotaging us, and being nasty and cruel and disrespecting us and our ancestors who fought for our rights and thought about us. So check out, I want you guys to listen to what this man, I believe he's British, or is this UK? He's going to throw a sum of money that he said is owed for reparations. Check out what he's saying and then listen to the sum. Check this out.
I think that I'd be really shocked if people aren't familiar with the idea, because people are absolutely familiar with the idea of reparations to Jewish people for the Holocaust. People are absolutely understand. We talk about reparations to Ukraine.
He made a great point. He said people understand reparations when it's concerning anyone but Black Americans and melanated immigrants. They understand reparations when it comes to Jews. And Germany paid Jews $90 billion for what they did. But the Jews weren't enslaved in this country and around the world for hundreds of years. And then they want to come in and say, they even have the gall to say, well, Black Americans, you know, if you just get over the victim mentality. First of all, we've been discriminated against by you too. You come into our communities and don't treat us fairly. You don't hire us. And that was part of the reason for I was told by people who were older than me. I wasn't even born. But during the riot, the Watts riot, that was one reason why a lot of Jewish businesses were destroyed, because of their terrible relationship with us in our communities. It hasn't changed. So any and every group that has some kind of power has in some kind of way discriminated against us. Don't lie. You have. Like when Asians come into our community, what do? Hispanics build, you know what? Like I said, we need to come and bring cases against this government for blatant discrimination. Anytime they tell us, no, we're not going to do it, but then turn around and help other groups come to help refugees that are brand new to this country, give them billions of dollars to start over, still paying Jews, giving all this money to Ukraine, which I believe is I believe that's a grift. Somebody in this country is benefiting from that, the money they're giving to Ukraine. Okay, let me continue to play with this.
And so this is about reparations to make repair for all the damage that was done due to the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, and its legacy.
There have been different calculations over the years as to what that could be. Obviously, that itself, if it ever did come to pass, would be deeply contested and fraught. But what are the sort of sums that have been devised or put forward in the past?
So I think it's really important, before I give out the number, because they have led with the big number, all right, which I will tell you in a minute, which was devised and calculated by the University of the West Indies and CARICOM, and was led by a judge which has led with war crimes in Europe. And so it is a very reputable number that they came to. But before I give you that number, I should put it in context. And the context is that for the European Investment Bank has calculated that to make real repair just for the Ukraine war, which has been going just for 3 years, they've calculated $1.2 trillion. So that's a 3-year war.
That right there is what was annoying. That's what we have to do. We have to stop trying to explain and justify figures. If you have half of a brain and some kind of decency and understanding in your heart, you would know that whatever number we give you is fair. It's probably not even enough. But do you see how he had to brace this man for the number he's about to throw out? He had to explain how much Ukraine needs just to be repaired from this war that is in modern times. Check it out.
For one relatively small, if you think about it, temporal and geographic areas, is $1.2 trillion. The calculation that we'll come to with regards to all the damage that was done over hundreds of years, at least 12.5 million Africans taken enslaved and taken across the Atlantic, all the damage that was done to the African countries, all the damage which continues with regards to racism, the number is 18.2 trillion.
18.2 trillion.
18.2 trillion. Now, the trouble is, if you just lead with that number without putting it in context with regards to what people think is the real cost of the Ukraine war.
So he said it would take $18.2 trillion to make or start making repairs for what the Caribbeans and other, non-Black Americans went through with regards to slavery. And I can already see on the white man's face, he was sitting there like, you out of your rabbit ass mind. I'm thinking, if you think that's too much, you're out of your rabbit ass mind. Because if you do the calculation, those who are mathematicians, and you don't even have to be a mathematician, all you got to do is calculate from the time slavery no, the money that was amassed from every sector around the world that amassed wealth just from slavery. All you got to do is calculate that. Calculate the labor that you would calculate what these people would have been paid if you were decent human beings. And you didn't pay them. Do all the calculations, the interest, the years, inflation. Do all the calculations to see the numbers, to see what numbers you would get. And that is why they've been fighting us. When I mean by us, I mean us here in this continent and around the world. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, before I play more videos of people talking to other immigrants talking about reparations around the globe, I'm going to play some videos to show why the betrayal is so deep and why to me, it would seem impossible for us to work with you or to trust you. And then I'm going to play a clip of a short I created of this woman talking about how the African Union, along with Biden and Obama, tried to steal our reparations. So check this out.
I'm African American. He is straight African. How do you see African Americans?
I see y'all as slaves.
And what makes us slaves?
Because you built a nation that controls you.
How does it control us? We got NBA, NFL. We're running it.
They use you as dancers and entertainers.
But they paying us $100 million plus.
Yeah, but then they own the money.
So do Africans, how y'all see African Americans?
Huh?
How do Africans see African Americans?
We see y'all honestly as, if you want the truth, we see y'all as our heroes that have given up on themselves.
Now, the host or the guy who was interviewing the dude that was standing so proudly, so proud of his lineage. I don't know if the guy, he said he was African American, so I don't know if he's like first generation African who was born here and he's an American, or he's one of those, he's a FBA Black American who still calls himself African American. He kind of confused me, but his questions, he was a little too passive for me, because ain't no one in the world you're going to be in my face talking down on me, telling me how you see me. And then all the while you're talking greasy, I'm thinking about the conditions of your country. I'm thinking about the wealth. You guys are the richest continent in the world and you have no access to it. You guys should be living richer than rich. You should be making the richest person in this country and other countries look poor. So yeah, man. So check out these other clips.
They not like us. They not like us. You think that they gonna let you disrespect? Oh hell nah. My map done grew out.
Wow. Diabolical. This South African woman is dressed up like Harriet Tubman, holding cotton, listening to They Not Like Us.
Let's go to YouTube.
Diabolical. Where are the Pan-Africans? Where's Dr. Moore? You know what? Hold on. Let's just, before we even get this thing started, here's a particular situation that's been happening on social media right now. One of the most diabolical, nasty, viral confrontations with Black Americans and now South Africans. Now, I haven't been diving deep into the South African Black American situation.
So she took it upon herself to come online and mock Black Americans, or supposedly mock Black Americans. I mean, I'm saying, yeah, she did it. You can see in the video, but it's like, girl, please. Coming from where you came from, really? And why you guys have these harsh feelings towards us, but why you come out here and act like us? I said this a few years ago on Twitter when they were just on Twitter acting a fool against us. And I said, you know what? I was going back and forth with this. I don't know if she was Nigerians are the ones that seem like they have all the smoke, right? So I was looking at her avatar, her picture, and I said, profile pic. I said, looking at your profile pic, honey, I can't even tell that you are Nigerian. I said, where are your traditional clothes? Why when you guys come out here to our country, we can't tell you apart? I look at your men, phenotype, I can tell, but the way you guys dress, the way you carry yourself, the way you conduct yourself, you know, the music you listen to, I cannot tell that you're not a Black American. I guess they were upset because Kendrick Lamar's rap saying they're not like us. He's stating the obvious. We're not alike in so many ways, especially when he was talking about Drake. I'm like, why are you so upset that he's pointing out the obvious? I thought you guys bragged about not being like us. I thought you wanted the WASP people to know that you aren't like us. So why are you upset? Okay, let's continue.
What's her name? Arrivo. That Cynthia Arrivo who's playing Wicked, the witch in Arrivo, she said some really disparaging shit about African Americans. And then she ends up playing...
Is she British?
She's British Nigerian.
Okay.
If I'm right, I better be right, because I want to make sure if I'm not, you guys can go in the comments and go, he don't even got it right. That motherfucker don't say nothing right. You know, she said some disparaging shit about African Americans. I want to make sure I quote it right, but if you can get your producer to find it, that would be cool.
Mario's trying to...
Because I don't want to say anything out of pocket. And she said some shit about, which is funny how almost every foreigner has something to say badly about African Americans. Even Africans sometimes have fucked up shit to say about African Americans, but then everybody comes to America trying to be African American.
And benefit off of our struggle and the work that we put in.
Yeah. And what's really fucked up is she ended up playing Harriet Tubman. I go, wait a minute, you just talked about and shit on African Americans, and you're gonna talk about the woman that did so much for African American freedom? You get to play her? You're fucking playing Harriet fucking Tubman? How could you say that? How could anybody that looks like you come into America and talk about African Americans when they are the ones that have created the foundation for foreigners to come in? The 1964 Civil Rights Bill is the reason why Koreans, Nigerians, Indians, Arabs can come in and open up businesses in black neighborhoods and still disrespect the fucking same people that are putting money in their pockets. What kind of fucking nerve?
Yeah, the nerve. They are like the people who oppress them as well. It's absolutely insane. Like, these are case studies. Racist and prejudiced immigrants need to be studied. And we've tolerated this poisonous, toxic, disgusting attitude, mindset too long. How dare you come into our communities, get rich off of us, don't hire us from the community? Because I thought it was some kind, I don't know if it's a law or regulation or policy that you guys, when you have a business in a community, you have to hire people from that community. And it doesn't just mean Hispanics. Because most of the people who come to your businesses aren't just Hispanics. They're mainly us. It must have been some kind of curse over our people to keep giving these people money who treat us like crap. It's crazy. Okay, next I'm going to play the video that I said I created a short from of this young lady talking about how the Democrats try to sabotage us and steal from us, as well as the Africans. And then I'm going to play this clip of this Black American breaking down the reasons why some white folks and some Africans feel the way they feel about us. Check this out.
You don't have to like Trump, but you better respect the shit that he's doing. Because at this point, he is the only protecting our reparations from being funneled to other damn countries. Now, I'm about to play you a video and then I'm going to show you some information. Had he not done this, I would not have looked into why he pulled us out, and I would not have found out that Biden put us into some shit that their sole purpose was to steal our damn reparations. First, listen to this video.
Globalists, and they are now scrambling. He issued a massive announcement on Wednesday, and the earthquake tremors can be felt all around the globe. It is high time for us to start pulling back from these organizations, and Trump is serving them notice. Before we get into the story, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Well, President Donald Trump announced that he is pulling the United States out of 66 foreign organizations, including a handful of them at the United Nations.
Now, let me show you what those organizations were. This was the first of them. The UN Human Rights Council. Obama put us in this shit in 2009. Biden put us back in 2021 because Trump pulled us out when he got back into office in 2018. These committees' sole purpose was to hold the United States responsible for global slavery. What the fuck do the United States owe globally as far as slavery? Slavery was internal to the United States. The United States ain't have slavery in the Caribbean. They have slavery in Africa. They had slavery within the United States. They enslaved the people within the United States. So why the hell are we on a council that is looking to pay global reparations? What kind of bullshit is that? Here's another committee. The UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent, established in 2021. Biden put us in this shit. And let me show you what else Biden did around this time. Biden signed Executive Order 14089, which established the President's Advisory Council on African Diaspora Engagement in the United States. These motherfuckers on the blue team are despicable. Hold on. Now you want to wonder why they always so crazy to make us people of African descent? Why these people won't get the hell off of us? This is why. Let me show you what else. This was the third organization, the UN Working Group of Experts on People of African Descent. This is why they keep trying to put that shit on us. Because that's the only way they can pull the U.S. into their damn reparations claim. And here's another one. The UN Special, hold on. Excuse me, I have a call coming in. Special Rapporteurs on Truth, Justice.
That's wicked. That's sinister. That's so evil. You remember what Biden said, right? And then you remember what Obama, I don't think Obama ever addressed reparations, right? He said everybody in this country are immigrants. So you already know how he feel. And then Kamala, what'd she say? On national news, I ain't doing, should I put that clip in there? Put that clip in this video? I mean, they are pro-immigrant. And they know we're not. They know. Matter of fact, before I end this video, I'm going to play a clip from this guy. He comes straight out on Joe Rogan's show and says, black folks in America didn't come from Africa. He said they came from this land. I already did a short where the Colombian president said dark-skinned people were in this country on this land for thousands of years. Why you guys keep... This is the thing I said in multiple videos. Okay, you know how much our history has been hidden and covered up and diluted, right? They reclassified us multiple times. Why? Anybody ever sit back and wonder why they changed our names multiple times? It was to pull us away from our true status in this country. So this country has done whatever they could to cover up our true identity, which they're not going to be able to continue for long, right? It's going to come out, and it is coming out. Why would you believe they've lied to us about any and everything they could lie to us about? Why would you believe them when they come and tell you you're from Africa? And why are they so adamant with wanting you to believe you're from Africa, but they lie about everything else? Does anyone think that way? Or is it just me? Like, damn, they've been lying to us for hundreds of years. Why do they want us to believe so strongly that we came from Africa? Now, I'm not saying that they did not bring people from Africa here. I'm saying we were already here. And they brought people from Africa too. I told you that there was a video I did. I put it in 2 videos. The one I'm talking about is titled Black Americans Finally Break Their Silence About How They Feel About Immigrants. There's a woman who asked a panel question. She said, are you guys familiar with NPR radio? And they were like, yeah. She said, well, in the early 2000s, they did the DNA or genealogy on a black American man, and it came back like 99% they were indigenous to this land. It didn't show that he came from anywhere else but this land. Then they did DNA on other black Americans, and it said the same thing. Then they started switching it up. Then later on, we come from West Africa. They was like, oh, hell no. This DNA, their DNA is telling the truth, Ruth. And then if you look at the disclaimer on those tests, they're like commercial and they're a joke, and they're not telling you your true lineage. Okay, so let me play this clip of this black American man, and then I'm going to play the clip of the guy telling Joe Rogan who we are, and then I'm going to play some more clips of black people, well, melanated immigrants around the world demanding reparations. Okay.
I figured out why the whites and the Africans hate the black American people, because they had a 400-year head start. The whites and the Africans plotted against our people, but they squandered 400 years and they did nothing. And they see us catching up and surpassing them, and they can't stand.
So I was looking at this video, and this host was talking to a caller, and the caller was, he was tripping out, but he said he was criticizing or demeaning or making light of the fact that Black Americans, even with all the things we've gone through, we have amassed trillions of dollars of spending power, right? He was like, and you act like trillion, 2-something trillion is a lot. He said white people have hundreds, how would he say, 200 trillion? And, he was kind of like, putting down what we have amassed. And my thing is, here's the thing, fool. The reason why it's a big deal for us is because of all the obstacles and things that took place to try to hinder us from elevating in this country. Need I say Jim Crow, black codes, restrictions, discrimination, you couldn't buy property, jobs. That's why we had these laws, because racists weren't hiring us, or we get hired, we get fired, or we get the most lowliest positions in the country. Need I go on? So even with all those things that happened against us, we still were able to amass wealth. Also, let me remind you, literally after our people were released from being prisoners of war, because they fought their ways out of chains, they amassed millions of dollars at that time. At that time, after the emancipation, for our people to amass millions of dollars and then they put it in the Freeman Bank or savings, you know how much millions of dollars were at that time? So that's why it's a big deal that we have a little bit over 2 trillion in spending power, because of all the obstacles that came our way. Now, when he said white people have hundreds of trillions of dollars, that's not a big deal, because you set everything up for you to amass that wealth. And honestly, the way you set things up for you to benefit from it, even poor whites, that's a small amount of money. So now listen to this video. I just ran across this video today. Black American man speaking to Joe Rogan. I never saw this video until today, and I think you guys will find it interesting. And I'm going to try to remember to put the links to, it's 2 of them. It's a short version of what he said, and then I guess it's the long form. I'm gonna try to remember to put it in this video so you guys can watch it yourself. But check this out.
Africans were brought over on slave ships?
Correct. I believe it may have happened, maybe people were brought over as slaves, but I don't think that the black people in America came from Africa on slave ships. I believe the people that were here were slowly conquered. First, they got the East Coast, and then they started spreading out west, little by little, conquering. And when you conquer a tribe, what do? You enslave them. They're POWs. Right?
Okay.
That's what you do. So after you conquer this tribe, you make them slaves. Now, how do you conquer the natives here? So let's say you got this tribe is warring against this tribe. Well, this tribe goes talk to the white man. White man says, yo, if you help me wipe out these people, then boom, I'll help you with whatever. So they get together and they wipe out this other tribe. Now, guess what? The white man now outnumbers this tribe, so he wipes them out. You just kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You just keep moving like that. We were not brought here on slave ships. That's not economically sound. What do you mean? Sense. So when Christopher Columbus got here, Christopher Columbus got to the Caribbean, according to a primary source, right. They basically said the first thing he did was take slaves. He didn't bring slaves, he took slaves from the island. He captured people. So when you have colonization, you gotta remember, the United States was only built 13 colonies at first, right? You think this whole land was empty? No, there were natives here. Right. But today we're taught that natives are some other people. No, natives are the melanated African being that has come here since the beginning of the Mali Empire. We're talking about 14th, 13th century. We had already come here from Africa.
Really?
Oh yeah. We had already come here.
To the United States or to
this landmass we call the United States. So the way the ocean current works is it works from Africa, leaves out of West Africa, comes to South America and the Caribbean. That's just how the currents go. You don't need no paddle boat or nothing. The currents will just take you there, and then you travel up. But we had already been here. All you got to do is look up the story of Sarah Rector. Sarah Rector is a wealthy, so-called Native American. I think she was a Choctaw tribe or one of these tribes, but she was wealthy. And
yep, I will not. You cannot even pay me to believe that my people, my lineage came from Africa. I don't believe it. It's something I just feel, and I feel it in my spirit, my soul. And I know some people who are just so scientific minded. You so scientific minded, you don't even believe you have a soul or a spirit. I'm not even talking to you. It's just something that don't agree. It doesn't agree with my soul, my spirit. And one day I'm going to tell I'm gonna share a dream that someone had about me and my sister in late 90s, and it had to do with us. We were in Israel, and this is way before social media, way before we started coming online talking about being indigenous to this land. Okay, so let me play one more video of immigrants demanding reparations, and then I'm gonna be out because I've been working on this since early this morning. Check it out.
British Prime Minister David Cameron said in Jamaica that his government would not make slavery reparations to the Caribbean nation. Now he asked the island nation to move on. The subject of compensation was brought on by a prominent Jamaican academic and CARICOM Reparations Commission chairperson, Sir Hilary.
During a visit to Kenya, Britain's King Charles has stopped short of apologizing for his nation's repression of independence fighters 70 years ago. But the new monarch is under severe pressure because of Britain's imperial past. Caribbean nations are calling on Charles to dig into his $2 billion personal fortune and pay compensation for the royal family's slave trading past. Special correspondent Malcolm Brabant reports.
Britain's imperial state crown that Charles III wore at his coronation is supposed to represent the king's moral authority over his subjects in the United Kingdom, as well as former colonies which have retained the monarch as their head of state. But as Charles strives to bolster the monarchy's relevance in the 21st century, he's been undermined by revelations that the symbol of his sovereignty is stained by the blood of slaves.
The British royal family are deeply entangled in the transatlantic chattel slave trade.
Professor Robert Beckford's field is social justice, and he's been investigating links between major institutions and slavery.
They signed the first charter that allowed privateers to go into Africa, into the West Indies, and traffic hundreds of thousands of enslaved people. They made huge profits from it.
It's absolutely ludicrous that the same people who have been mocking us, accusing us of begging because we're standing up and fighting what we are accustomed to doing, is in our blood, they are doing the same thing. They're demanding repairs for what happened to them on another country, in another country. And then how do you sleep at night when, you know, your people are demanding reparations for wherever you are native to, and then you come here and join our politics and work against us? That is a diabolical, depraved, satanic, sinister mind for you to even be that way. But you know you never win. You never win playing dirty. Yeah, you don't win playing dirty. So what you guys think? You're going to stomp on us and then you think you're going to get reparations for you? These same people that you are conspiring with against us, they're laughing at you and they're probably disgusted at your betrayal. Like, damn, they going to do that to people who look like them. Can we trust them? I don't think any of you guys are trustworthy, to tell you the truth. Your track records are slimy. I'm surprised you guys were able to pull off defrauding the government so long without us finding out. That's strange. I guess they're only slimy towards us, right? I would love to know the conversations they're having in private about the fraud that's being discovered across the nation. The people who are involved in the fraud, I wonder what they're saying. I wonder what kind of private meetings and conversations they're having. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, the purpose of me doing the video is I was looking for videos of immigrants calling us slaves, but being offended about being called a slave. But you called us every name but a child of God. And then I stumbled across these videos of them demanding reparations. And then I was like, well, how are you guys demanding reparations when you claim that we're begging? That is hypocrisy. See why we can't link up and work with each other? I know for a fact we have never treated you guys the way you treated us. Okay, folks, I'm about to get up out of here. Thank you for your time and attention. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.